Hey there! Welcome back to IF Global Management Training. If you're joining us for the first time, we welcome you as well. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss our latest videos on project management and career development tips. Today, we're exploring 5 must-know project management terms that the project managers mistakenly do not use. Are you making these mistakes? Ever been part of a project that just totally blew up? Deadlines missed? Budgets busted? Yeah, I've been there. It's brutal. Often the issue isn't some big complex issue, but a lack of understanding of the fundamental building blocks of project management. Think of it like building a house. You wouldn't start slapping bricks together without a blueprint, right? Same goes for projects. Without knowing the lingo and key concepts, you're setting yourself up for a world of pain. That's why I'm stoked to break down 5 must-know project management terms that'll put you on the path to success. Let's dive in. All right, first up, we've got the critical path. Think of this as the VIP lane of your project. It's the sequence of tasks that absolutely have to happen on schedule for your project to finish on time. Any delay on the critical path directly impacts your project's deadline. Let's say you're building a website, and getting the design approved is on the critical path. If that approval gets held up, everything else, development, content, testing, gets pushed back. But here's the good news. Once you identify the critical path, you can prioritize those tasks like crazy. Allocate your best resources, give them the attention they deserve, and minimize any potential roadblocks. It's all about proactive planning. Think of it like this. You're driving to a super important meeting and there's a major traffic jam on your usual route. Do you just sit there and accept that? No way. You will look alternate route to make sure you get there on time. By focusing on these critical tasks, you can keep your project on track and avoid those nasty delays. Now let's talk about dependencies, those sneaky little connections between tasks that can make or break your project flow. Imagine a relay race, right? One runner can't start their leg until they get the baton from the previous runner. Dependencies work the same way. In project management, dependencies show which tasks rely on others to be completed before they can even begin. Some tasks are dependent on the completion of others, creating a chain reaction that dictates the project's overall timeline. Let's say you're working on a marketing campaign. You can't launch the social media ads before the copy is written, and you can't finalize the copy until the design team finishes the graphics. Ignoring dependencies is like trying to bake a cake without preheating the oven. It's just not going to end well. But here's the beauty of understanding dependencies. You can plan your work more efficiently, create a visual roadmap of your project, clearly outlining which tasks need to be tackled first and which ones can run concurrently. This helps you optimize your resources, avoid bottlenecks, and keep the project moving smoothly. Let's move to scope creep, the silent project killer, and how to stop it. All right, let's talk about a project management villain, scope creep. This sneaky monster can derail even the most well-planned projects, and it often starts with seemingly innocent requests. Imagine this. You're building a website, and the client asks for just one more feature, then another, and another. Before you know it, the project has ballooned way beyond its original scope, leaving you stressed, overworked, and probably over budget. Scope creep is the uncontrolled expansion of a project's requirements, often without adjusting the time, budget, or resources. But fear not, my friends, because knowledge is power. The key to combating scope creep is clear communication and documentation. Define the project scope up front in a detailed document that everyone agrees on. This acts as your project's constitution, a guiding document that outlines exactly what's included and, crucially, what's not. And when those inevitable requests for just one more thing start rolling in, don't be afraid to push back, politely of course. Explain the impact these changes will have on the timeline and budget. Sometimes, a gentle reminder of the project scope is all it takes to get things back on track. Remember, saying no to scope creep isn't being difficult, it's being a responsible project manager. Now let's understand. Resource leveling, the art of juggling resources like a pro. Let's talk about resource leveling, a project management technique that's all about maximizing efficiency and making sure you're not overworking your team. Think of it like this. You've got a limited number of chefs, ovens, and ingredients, and you need to whip up a 5-course meal for a hungry crowd. Resource leveling is about strategically allocating those resources to avoid bottlenecks and ensure a smooth, delicious outcome. In project management, resources aren't just people. They can be time, budget, equipment, software, anything that's essential to getting the job done. Resource leveling helps you identify potential resource conflicts early on and adjust your plan accordingly. Let's say you're managing a software development project and you realize that your lead developer is booked solid during a crucial testing phase. Resource leveling allows you to either reassign tasks, bring in additional support, or adjust the timeline to ensure that your star player isn't stretched too thin. Finally, let's go through float, or slack, your secret weapon for project flexibility. All right, let's wrap things up with a term that every project manager loves: float, also known as slack. Now, before you picture yourself sipping cocktails on a beach, let's be clear. This type of float is all about having wiggle room in your project schedule. In project management, float refers to the amount of time a task can be delayed without impacting the project's overall deadline. It's like having a buffer zone, a little bit of breathing room to account for unexpected delays or changes. Imagine you're planning a road trip and you estimate that it'll take you 8 hours to reach your destination, but you also factor in an extra hour for gas station breaks, potential traffic, or maybe even a spontaneous detour to check out a cool roadside attraction. That extra hour is your float. It gives you flexibility and peace of mind, knowing that you've got some wiggle room built into your schedule. Now, not all tasks have float. Remember the critical path we talked about earlier? Those tasks are usually pretty tight on time. But for other tasks, having some float can be a lifesaver. Understanding float helps you prioritize tasks, make informed decisions about resource allocation, and avoid unnecessary pressure on your team. Outrow level up your project management game. So there you have it. 5 essential project management terms that'll take your skills from zero to hero. We covered the critical path, dependencies, scope creep, resource leveling, and float. Mastering these terms is like having the blueprints to project success. You'll be able to communicate more effectively, make informed decisions, and navigate the complexities of project management with confidence. Now, I want to hear from you. What are some of your favorite project management terms? Drop them in the comments below. And if you're hungry for more project management tips and tricks, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Until next time, stay organized, stay motivated, and keep those projects on track.